Probably 15-20 minutes. I'll explain why it's going to be very quick. I will do another one later in the week where I can sort of dive a little bit deeper into the subjects. I was hoping to do that today, but as I will explain why I can't do that today, and it'll be self-explanatory. I'm sure it will once I go into the detail. Okay, I'm going to probably 30 more seconds and then we'll go into it. I do record it, so if you want to share it onto other people, just go onto my page. You can share it. It goes onto YouTube. Just look me up, Kevin Warren, on YouTube. Same again, you should be able to find it. If not, I share it back on here, and you can share it to friends and everything like that. So yeah, there's loads of ways to watch it. Again, if you've got to drop off, it's not a problem. You know, I'm doing this for myself, and I'm doing this for anyone that else wants to sort of join in and be part of it, to be honest. Certainly in these interesting times, we need to be able to think in a different way and think more positively. So I'm going to go into it now. Today is a little bit of a strange one. If you watch my first session, I got some really good positive feedback from it, and that's why I'm going to continue doing this, because I think a lot of people will appreciate, and even as I said before, if I get one person that improves and does things from this, then that's for me, that's success. I've got people around me and friends around me that are doing this already, so that's already success. So yeah, so really today is going to be a quick session. Now the reason for that is, I'll just quickly show you around. I am in a hospital. I'm in the Royal London Hospital. My daughter fell ill last week, and she had to have an operation. And she is getting better from it. I don't want to go into detail, saying again it's a bit of a negative thing, and that's not what this is about. So that's where I am. That's why I'm going to have to be quite quick today. But I did want to show, you know, I had loads of things in my head today saying don't do it, you're going to a hospital, don't do it. And I'm going to benefit from this because of the positive thinking that I get from it. So that's why I'm going to do it live from a hospital. And there's been so many, you know, I'm just going to talk about my experience and what I've had to go through. And obviously when it's your part of your family and people that are close to you, it's difficult. And what I managed to do, so basically as my daughter was getting unwell, it was really worrying times, yeah. And what I spoke about the other day about not focusing on the worry, at these times it's very difficult not to. And so you know, one evening I was on my own. I didn't have my family around me. I didn't have who I wanted around me, my loved ones around me, and I was, you know, it was tough, really tough. And so you can imagine what I spoke about last week about being balanced. And if you're not balanced, you will always, you know, you need to try and find that balance. And if you go quite a way out, you've got to find your way back, and you can't do it in one big jump, because mentally that's too tough to deal with. So what you need to do is put those slow steps back in place to try and remain positive, and those positive thinking again. And what I'd done last week was, when I was at my lowest point, one of the steps that I did, I went out for a run. I haven't done a 5k run for a long time, and I needed to get my mind off the negative thinking that was going on in my head. And as you can imagine, when your daughter's in hospital, you're not going to get much lower than that. So I had to do things to, one, entertain my mind, and it was okay, this wasn't easy. And I managed to go out for that run, and it made me feel just that little bit better. And that's one bit better than I was feeling before. And then one of the other things I did was my gratitude. So normally I'll do my gratitude in the morning, but I changed it. To that night time. I actually done about 10 gratitudes for probably about a 4-hour period, just reminding myself why I was doing this. And the gratitude was obviously things like the NHS, the doctors, and by the way, this isn't coronavirus related. All my gratitude was, you know, the good things. I then thought about the family and everything that I've got around me, my friends, and by drawing that positive energy towards me, it made me just feel that little bit better. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't in the place I wanted to be, but that's because the people around me wasn't where I want them to be. So it was a tough step to get where it needed to go. But I had to continue to do that, because I could have gone that way and I could have had the negative thinking and the worry and everything that goes with it. same again, like I said last week, who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit me. I'll go into a bad, dark place. So I had to try and remain positive, and that's by doing those small little steps to get you where you're going. And it really helped me. It really did. And then obviously, once things started to improve, my daughter started to get better, I obviously started feeling more positive. My gratitude has gone out the roof, gone through the roof this week, purely because I needed to. I needed to remain focused on getting to myself to a balance where I needed to go. So it sort of goes back to those fundamentals of why we do this, and just changing that mindset. I could have been very, very negative. I could have worried a lot. I did worry a lot. I'm not going to lie to you, I did worry a lot, but I managed to be able to draw it back in and try and remain as positive as I could, just by doing those small little steps. So that's why I'm broadcasting from Royal London Hospital. And same again, I'll do another gratefulness just why I'm here, because the nurses and the doctors and the surgeon and everybody have been absolutely amazing, and I couldn't ask for anything more. So there's a massive gratitude going towards the NHS at the moment. They're already going through a lot of hard work at the moment with the virus, and this, it just shows what a great NHS we've got, and we should be grateful for it. So that's just, that's that part. I wanted to cover that off and just show you that it's not easy, some of this stuff, and it's not all happy, and we're all going to go to this happy place and stuff like that. And that's why I'm going to be doing my mindfulness and positive. I'm coming from a real life situation. A lot of people that talk about all this sort of stuff don't, they're kind of, I've been there, I've done that, I've made millions, and I said this last week. That's not me. I'm coming from it now. I'm living the moment and what I'm putting in place to try and help myself, hopefully help my friends, and I hope that, people around me start understanding the aspects of positive thinking and having a mindful approach on everything you do. So that's me. Personal one. I could have cancelled tonight. No, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. You know what I'm like with excuses. I hate excuses. Like, if I can do it live from a hospital, I think anyone can do this from anywhere at any point. So that's just the little point opener for there. So just go back again. I'll go into what we spoke about last week. So the positive and the negative thinking. You have two options. When you see something or when you go to do something, you have two options. You can think in a positive way or you can think in a negative way. It's that simple. If you approach it with a positive attitude, you'll see the better in things. If you approach it with a negative attitude, you'll see the negativity in it and you won't enjoy it. And I'll come into a bit more detail after that thought process. I'm going to try and talk a little bit about health and like losing weight and stuff like that, and how to approach that. Same again, I'm living that at the moment. I'm approaching losing a stone, but then it's because I've done certain things to get myself where I needed to go. Paradigms, same again. I do want to go into the paradigms, but won't be able to cover it today in the short session that we're going to do. Law of attraction, again, do look into that, people, the science behind all this. So do, if you get time, do look into it, because you'll find it very useful. The stress, the worry, I spoke about that last week. If you focus on the worry, you'll bring worry. You focus on the negative, you'll attract more negativity. It's just the way of life. That's the law of attraction will bring that to you. And that's, if you think about some of your friends that have been successful, and you think of some of the attitude that they have towards things, and most of the time, and there are different circumstances, but most of the time it's because they have a positive attitude towards something. So if you look at it in a positive way and you put the right steps in place in a positive way, you'll normally get where you need to go. And that's not jumping from here to there. We are talking about small little steps to get you where you want to go. You don't waste energy on things you can't control. Now, if you go back to my circumstance that happened, what's happening now and last week, I obviously focused too much on the negative. And hold on one second, hold on. Pardon?
I'm trying to get another seat there.
Okay, I'll put it on for you in a second. Lay back down. That's it. Put that one on. Sorry about that. The daughter wants a different CD on the TV. yeah, I couldn't change the way I was thinking. If I was worried about my daughter in the hospital, and obviously I was worrying, I couldn't focus on that too much. If I focused on that, it would have just driven me lower and lower, and more negative and more negative. So it was important I didn't focus on that negative and the worry. So it's difficult, very, very difficult when you live in that moment, but it just shows that, you know, I feel like I'm in a really good place at the moment, and considering what I've gone through, it just shows that I had two options to the way I thought about what was going on, and I chose to think in a more positive manner. Very simple: think negative, think positive. And honestly, you can't, when you approach things, no matter what you're doing, you've got two options. And that's one thing you can really take away from today's session, is that very simple two ways of thinking. And we're going to that goals and targets again. If we don't have that goals and we don't set ourselves targets, then what are we striving towards? What are we trying to achieve? If you can't achieve you're not going to achieve what you can't achieve, because you haven't set anything. So it's important that you set those goals, and it could be daily goals, it could be by the end of the year, it could be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. To be honest, I would set goals for everything. You don't need to do it in one little session, but think about the future, think about the end of the day, think about tomorrow, think about the end of the week. And it's just quick little targets and goals that you can set yourself. And this, you know, and if you then approach it in that positive manner, and you'll get where you want to go, that's when you'll start seeing the mind shift, because you're achieving things, you're going to be more happy about things. So, you know, it's important that you set those little objectives and those goals to get where you need to get. And then I go into those little fundamentals again. The meditation, if you believe in that, you can do it. You know, same again, I don't really meditate that much because it doesn't do much for me. I still do it because you do get things out of it. And the deep breathing, sometimes it's hypnosis. I just wanted to go over those quick fundamentals of what we're trying to achieve here. And hopefully, if you get something from it, then all good. So one of the things I wanted to bring into play today, same again, this is part of that law of attraction, but I'm not going to go too deep again. But we're just going to touch it to try and get the mind thinking in a different way. And this one is about the lack. If you focus on the lack, same again, that's a negative way of thinking. So if you focus on what you don't have, you lack confidence, you lack losing weight. If you focus on that, you're wasting energy because you're focusing on a negative thing, and you'll never get where you want to go because you're actually focusing in a negative way. You're concentrating on the lack, and if you ever get where you want to go but you're focused on the lack, you'll never be happy with what you have. You know, so if you think about, you know, if you've got all this money and you're focusing on having the best car in the world, Ferrari or whatever it is, it's because you're focused on the lack, and when you get the lack, it's a negative. Because the lack is what you focused on. You didn't want that in the first place, or, you know, it was because you didn't have it. It was the lack that brought you to where you wanted to go. So, as I say, you do need to dive deep into this, but if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because if you're focusing on the lack, it's still a negative. Yeah, you need to be focusing on what you want to do and the gratitude and where you need to go and what you want to do. And if that brings you a Ferrari and it just comes into your life, you'll be more happy and more satisfied with it, because you haven't focused on the lack, you just allowed it to happen. We will dive deep into that. It's quite a complicated one, the lack. Same again, it's that the lack is focusing on something that's just basically wasteful. So when I go back to that wasted energy, same again, the lack brings lack of energy. And if you're focusing on that, you won't have the drive to move yourself forward. Lack also brings the imbalance. So when I talk about, you know, you've got to keep yourself balanced. If you do that or you do that and you're over happy because something's happened, you need to remain balanced, and lack brings that. If you keep focused on lack, you just keep dropping down. You need to remain balanced at all times. And if you, as you start sort of focusing on the lack, your balance goes this way. You need to bring yourself back forward again. So it's a tough one to sort of get your head around. Hopefully, I'm trying to explain how it works. Once you go deep into it and start having a general discussion with someone, it really starts triggering. And I suppose in a way, an easy way to focus on this one is one thing that we all do. We focus on a healthy body. Yeah, we've all got the reason we always look at our bodies and health is because it's attached to us. Wherever we go and whatever we do, this is with us. This is with us. Whatever we do, because we take this with us, this is the most important part of being mindful and having a positive attitude and being healthy. Now, if we're being negative and we're focusing on the lack, then we're going to drag that around with you. So you get what I'm saying now? So the more you think about the lack and not having something, you're going to drag that around with you. And believe me, that becomes heavy. So it's important what we're focusing on here in your mind and having you've got two subjects, think negative, think positive. You've got your body attached to you. So now we've got to drive your body and your health in the right direction. Now, this is one easy way of saying this. If you struggle or lack in losing weight, or I lack in a good diet, and it's takeaways and it's McDonald's and it's all stuff like that. Same again, and you turn around and go, well, I've had enough, I'm going to lose weight, right? Your focus on, I've got to give up takeaways, I've got to give up, or go for a run, or I've got to go and join a class, or, I've got to go and do exercise. The focus on the lack, the negativity, the way you take that into whatever you're trying to lose or achieve, it's not going to be enjoyable. It's only ever going to be hard work, and that's short term. Because in a month's time, 2 months' time, you'll get where you went, or you'll get where you want to go. You've done it driving through the lack of something. So you will stop. So if you go, well, I'm going to starve my body of like good nutrients and stuff like that and go on a crazy diet, right? Your body's going to lack what it needs to maintain itself in the future. So you concentrate on losing weight via the lack. When you get there, right, you're not going to be happy. You might, short term, you might be happy, but it's not long term. So you're not going to stay there. And you're going to slowly put the weight back on as you start eating normally again. And yeah, does it all sound familiar? Because you're focused on the lack. You focus short term, I want to lose X amount of weight by the end of the month. That's a short term goal. Forget about short term. Short term won't benefit anyone. You've got to think about the long term. And if you think about the long term, you set your goals, and your mental being is, I just want to be healthier and have a better well-being. Two very simple things you can put down as a goal. By the end of the year, I want to be healthier and a better well-being. You don't need to worry about diet, lack of weight, lack of fitness, lack of this. Don't focus on any of that. Just focus on being healthier and fitter. And that's your focus, And if you don't want to use the words I want, it's more of a case of that's my goal. Now, if you get to where you want to go in small little steps, so you might turn around and say, right, I'm going to go for a 1k run today. Right, that's more than you did yesterday. Then it's a 2k run and it's 3. And then by the end of the year, who knows where you'll be. Right, the weight will look after itself. The healthiness will look after itself. So that long term, I just want to do small little steps in the right direction. You will get where you want to go, but you'll do it not through the wanting of lacking. If you want to have a takeaway, you have a takeaway. But you just can't do it every single day. But you won't want to do it every single day because that's not one of your goals. That's not one of your main focuses. So you've got to think about the positive in eating. You've got to think about when you're eating, what you're putting into your body and what's going to feed your brain and your nutrition and everything like that. So if you're putting in crap, it will give you crap. Yeah, so change your mind and think, actually, if I feed it with good stuff and go for a run or do a bit of exercise or wherever it is, you'll slowly see your mindset change. You're getting towards your goal, you're getting towards your targets, you're feeling healthier, your mind's going to be more switched on, you're looking at things in a more positive way. You've had 2 options, just think more positive. Don't think about what you haven't got. Don't think about how big you were or what you weighed 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Doesn't matter. You can worry about that and you'll just waste your energy. Focus on today and where you want to be and where you want to go. And you can put targets on it, but if you focus on the lack of where you were and what you did and how you got there, and I'll never be able to get out of this situation, or I can't change it now, it's far too late. I'm at a certain age now, you just can't do this sort of exercise. If you focus on that negative, you won't be able to. But you could do small little steps to get where you want to go. So it's thinking about how you focus going forward. And for me, that's one of the biggest things is not doing short-term fixes. It's good steps to go in the right direction long-term. And you'll be happier for that. There's one of the words that we look at is pivoting, and it's quite a clever little trick. It's not even a trick. It's a mind process again of visualizing something, and pivoting the way you think, and goes back to negative, positive, and you've got to try and pivot it. And I'm not saying this happens overnight, but you've got to try and pivot into a positive. So when you are looking at something, and I've been there and done this, you're looking at something in a negative way, try and pivot it. Try and pivot into a positive way. See the better in things. See the good in things. Whether it's your home life, whether it's it goes back to that gratitude. If you're doing your gratitude, you'll remember the pivot, and the pivot will be the better thing that you're thinking. So if you're feeling a bit negative, just think of the word, I need to pivot this. I need to get it into a better, more positive frame of mind. And that's just by pivoting it. Think about your gratitude. Think about, actually, I need to step back from this situation and look at what I have and what I'm grateful for. Pivot into a positive. Then you start looking things in a positive way. And that, for me, you end up having a better day. You'll have a better outcome, or even that short-term situation that you're in. You've pivoted it into positive. And sometimes it's just telling yourself, just thinking before you rush into a situation. You think about, I'm going in there now. Let's think in a positive way. And it's just approaching the subject rather than just going in and let it happen, and then all of a sudden you're thinking negative and it's a downward spiral. If you go in there in the positive mind and you think that way, you pivot it and go in the right direction. And actually, don't be afraid. If you can't pivot it, maybe don't enter that situation. You've got to think about yourself here, and you've got to think about, if you can't pivot, then you're just going to drive yourself into a very negative situation, and then start worrying and start all the other bits and pieces. Sometimes you go, I'm just going to take a step back, come back in the next day, the following, whatever you need to do. You've got to try and think about the situation, but try and pivot it, then go into it, and you'll get a much better outcome. And you've got to imagine, we go back to what I said about last week, some of the fundamentals is visualising where you want to go, visualising being that person that you want to be. My situation at the moment, I'm visualising, obviously, my daughter being back at home with me. And that's my visualisation, that puts a smile on my face. And that for me is key to that visualisation and making it happen. And you'll get to a better place in your mind and being more positive, because your visualisation is positive. Now, if you then take that into losing weight again, or we're not losing weight, being healthier. So even I do it, you just can say it in a negative way. It's not about losing weight, it's about being healthy. And if you take that into consideration, you visualise how you want to look. You've probably seen this and heard this in books, in diet books and stuff like that. You've got to visualise where you want to be, because that's what motivates you for thinking more positive and putting those steps in place. So you've got to think about it. When you're doing your gratitude, and while you're doing your goal setting, and while you're doing that, you're thinking in a positive way, and you're visualising where you want to go. That's a nice feeling, seeing yourself where you want it to be. If you want a few extra quid in the bank, if you visualise it, it's a nice thought. It's a nice thought to be in that position. And then you've got to put the steps in place to get there. It doesn't matter which way you do it, but put your small steps in place and you'll get where you want to go. So that's going to be kind of today's one. I do want to go into probably Thursday, Friday, all being well here, and I'm back home. We'll deep dive into some bits and pieces, but that's kind of where I wanted to go with it today. Just for today, I want to keep things simple for your gratitude. When you get into your bed tonight, think about, how many of you have ever thought about how comfortable this is? There's a lot of people out there that don't have that luxury. So think about how comfort your bed is, how quiet it is around you. keep those, go to bed with a positive mindset, you'll wake up with a positive mindset. And if you've got something on your mind, this is quite a key one as well. If you've got something on your mind, try not focus on the worry. 1 second, my darling. Okay, I'll do it in a sec. If you focus on that worry, you're going to struggle to sleep. So try not to focus. Change that mindset and put in, you might want to write it down. A positive thing to do tomorrow morning, a positive thing to do by the end of the week. Or if there's something that you need to do and you go, oh yeah, I must remember to do that, write it down, because that will make you relax. You can't go to bed with things in your head circling. Write it down. Write down what, if it is a negative thought or a worry, write it down and then write a positive action against it. So if you're thinking in a negative way, try not to, write. If you're going to have to write it down, try and write it down in a more positive manner, but put a positive action against it. What are you going to do to correct that? Slowly but surely, that little bit will help you sleep. And if tomorrow morning you'll wake up, you look at it again, go, right, oh yeah, I'll write that down. I need to do that today. And that's just one step in the right direction for thinking positive. And honestly, it will snowball. I'll leave you with this one. Obviously, some people that are close to me will know what happened last night. So I've been really positive over the last couple of days. I needed to be. I've really focused on being positive, and I've always said the law of attraction will bring you good news, good feelings, and good thoughts. And last night I played a 10p spin on a slot machine and won £1,300. No lie, I can share a screenshot if you really want to see it. And it might have been pure luck. I don't care. The fact that I've remained positive over the last couple of days, it might be that I got rewarded for it. I don't know, but it's great for me. It made me, put a big smile on my face last night, and today I was allowed to come and see my daughter. So it's been a positive one. So I'm going to leave it there. I've got to attend to my daughter. Please hit the likes, please the hearts and everything like that. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it couldn't be any longer, but hopefully you understand. I will dive deep into stuff Thursday, Friday, maybe at the weekend. I might do a day session, something like that. And then hopefully from now, we can really start getting into some of the law of attractions and stuff like that. So thank you again for joining. Obviously not many last week. Obviously people wanted me to donate last week. So, but we did. We donated £100. Thank you, Dean Craddock, for giving me a really, really good donation for that. So yeah. I will do another one. I'll just post on my Facebook when I do it, and we will start going a bit deeper into this. So thanks again for joining. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you can take something away from it. We will go into some of those fundamentals again. Do go away, do your gratitude, do write down your goals and your objectives in the morning. Wake up, think positive. We're in strange times at the moment, but I've got a smile on my face, so it must be doing something right. I will take, she's still relaxed, I'm going to take a question. Anyone got a question? Hopefully about what we're doing. Lots of love from my daughter. Thank you everyone that put messages down. That's really appreciate that. Any question around sort of the mindful, positive thinking? Anyone in a negative mindset at the moment that they need to talk about? Anything work? Any worry that you're focusing on that you shouldn't? Someone must have a question for me.
Me?
This one's always got a question.
Me?
You got a question? See, giggling, happy. So, is it okay to have a new car as a goal?
New car?
Yeah, I don't see why that would be an issue, but as long as you don't focus on the fact that you don't have the car that you want, and don't focus on the car that you want. You can get a new car, keep it simple, and take small steps to get there. So, yeah, it's one of those ones. You can have it. For me, I wouldn't have the car as a goal. It would be more the car will come if you get the finances. What's stopping you from going to get that car? You know, if you can go and get it now, then and you need it, I would go and get it. If it's finances, then you need to put the steps in place to get the finances to get what you want. But for me, you know, that can be a goal, but I would more focus on yourself, and the car will come. So try and take the car out the element, if you like. It's exactly that. Yeah, material things. Those things will come. You don't need to focus on the material things. Focus on the good things, the positive things. Focus on what you want to achieve, and you'll draw the attraction into everything. So being materialistic can be a bit of a struggle. So really focus on yourself, and then the other bits will come. We all need a car. Yeah, we need to get around. So don't focus on the materialistic things. Focus on the positive things about you, and the other stuff will come. Exactly, yeah, byproduct. Yeah. Anything else? Just let me scroll 1 second, see if there's anything I've missed. If not, we will end it, and then we can come back and do a bit more. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Come say goodbye to everyone. Come on. No? Okay, she's not going to say goodbye. All right, and thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.